The sun is still shining. Your panels are still working. So why could your home become more vulnerable during a long blackout? You step outside, expecting to see neighbors worried about the outage. Instead, you notice something else. Almost every house is dark and silent. Refrigerators have stopped humming. Garage doors won't open. Traffic lights at the end of the street are frozen. But your roof still shines in the morning light. For a moment, it feels like you prepared better than everyone else. Then, someone notices. Not the solar panels. Those have been there for years. They notice your porch light turning on after sunset. They notice the quiet hum of an air conditioner when every other home has gone silent. They notice the glow behind your curtains long after darkness covers the neighborhood. And that's when your greatest survival advantage starts becoming a signal. Because during a long grid collapse, the danger isn't only losing electricity. Sometimes, having electricity creates a completely different problem. Most people see solar panels as the perfect solution to a blackout. The idea seems simple. The grid goes down, the sun comes up. Your home keeps running while everyone else struggles. It sounds logical. So logical that many people never stop to question it. But the reality is much more complicated. Thousands of homeowners spend years and thousands of dollars installing rooftop solar, believing they've become independent from the grid. Yet, if the power fails today, many of those systems will shut down within seconds, even while the panels sit under direct sunlight. Others add battery storage and believe they have solved the problem completely. In some ways, they have. But they may also create new risks they never expected. Because electricity is only one part of survival. The moment everyone else loses power, every watt you produce changes how people see you. And that creates a problem almost nobody discusses. Imagine it has been 3 days since the national power grid failed. Nobody knows exactly what caused it. Some believe it was a cyber attack. Others blame a chain reaction of equipment failures after extreme weather. Rumors spread faster than facts. Phones barely work. Internet access is disappearing. Radio stations cut in and out. Every conversation begins with the same question. When is the power coming back? Nobody knows. The grocery stores emptied within the first 48 hours. Gas stations can't pump fuel because their systems depend on electricity. The long lines are gone, not because everyone found fuel, because there is nothing left to buy. Water pressure starts weakening as treatment plants struggle with backup systems. Hospitals delay everything except emergency care. Traffic becomes strangely quiet as fuel supplies run low. The routines that once made life predictable begin disappearing one by one. Yet, inside your home, the lights still work. Your freezer is still cold. Your battery system still shows a healthy charge. At first, it feels like every hour spent preparing was worth it. Then, the sun goes down. You turn on one kitchen light without thinking. Across the street, someone notices. It isn't anger, not yet. It's curiosity. And curiosity spreads quickly. One neighbor asks how you are still charging your phone. Another asks if you can keep medication cold overnight. Someone else asks if you have enough power for a medical device. None of these requests sound unreasonable. In fact, they are exactly what many people would ask. Helping feels like the right thing to do. But every answer reveals more. Yes, you have electricity. Yes, you probably have batteries. Yes, you may have food that hasn't spoiled. Without realizing it, you have started showing people that your home has resources. And in a world where those resources are becoming harder to find, that changes everything. Because survival is not only about what you have, it is about what people think you have. During normal life, solar panels are almost invisible. Most people walk past them without a second thought. They represent lower bills, cleaner energy, or modern home upgrades. But a long grid collapse changes their meaning. Suddenly, every rooftop creates a question. Does that house still have power? The answer is not as simple as many people believe. Here is one of the biggest misunderstandings in emergency preparedness. Many grid-connected solar systems do not work during a blackout. That surprises many homeowners. If your solar setup does not include batteries and equipment designed to operate independently, it usually shuts down when the grid fails. Not because something broke, because it was designed that way. Engineers built these systems to disconnect automatically, even on the brightest day of the year. And the reason is important. Imagine a repair crew working on a power line they believe is completely dead. Then suddenly, electricity flows into that line from a nearby home. That situation could put workers in danger, so the inverter disconnects automatically. The sun can be shining, your panels can be producing electricity, but none of that power reaches your home. Thousands of homeowners discover this only after the lights go out. Their rooftops become silent power plants, producing energy but providing nothing to the house below. It is an expensive lesson. But this is where the story gets more complicated. Some homes do keep running. Hybrid systems with properly configured batteries can continue supplying power after the grid fails. Off-grid systems can do the same. Those homes gain something incredibly valuable: time. Your refrigerator stays cold. Your phone keeps charging. Critical medical equipment continues working. Every hour your batteries provide power is another hour your family can live almost normally, while everyone else moves deeper into the crisis. For the first few days, that advantage feels impossible to measure. But every advantage comes with a cost. And this one does not appear on your electric bill. It appears in human behavior. Because as the outage stretches from days into weeks, people stop noticing who owns the biggest television or newest car. They start noticing something much simpler. Who still has light after dark? Who still has cold food? Who still has the sound of a generator? Or the quiet hum of batteries doing their job? And once people realize your home still has electricity, they stop seeing it the way they used to. It is no longer just another house. It is a place with something they desperately need. That is when the blackout truly changes. Not because the grid failed, but because human nature takes over. By the fifth day, the neighborhood no longer feels familiar. The first few days were filled with optimism. People shared updates, they traded rumors. Some even joked about camping inside their own homes. Everyone believed the power would return before life became truly difficult. Now the jokes are gone. Refrigerators have warmed. Freezers are filled with spoiled food. The smell arrives before anyone wants to admit what it means. Every trash bin becomes another reminder that modern life depends on a steady supply of electricity. Your home is different. You still have power. Not unlimited power, just enough to keep the essentials running. Enough to preserve food. Enough to charge radios. Enough to pump water. Enough to hold on to a routine while everyone else's routine slowly disappears. And routines matter more than most people realize. Psychologists have found that familiar routines reduce stress and give people a sense of control. When those routines disappear, uncertainty grows. During a long emergency, that uncertainty makes every problem feel bigger than it is. Your neighbors aren't only losing electricity, they're losing predictability. Every day feels less certain than the last. That's when people begin searching for certainty somewhere else. Sometimes, they find it at your front door. The first knock is simple. Could you charge my phone? An hour later, someone else arrives. My daughter's medicine needs to stay cold. By evening, another neighbor asks a different question. Our freezer stopped working. Could we store a few things? Every request feels reasonable. Every request is difficult to refuse. But every favor teaches the neighborhood something new. You have electricity. You have batteries. You probably have food. You probably have water. You probably planned ahead. Without realizing it, you've become one of the most valuable homes on the street. And valuable places attract attention. Not every visitor means harm, but attention has a way of spreading, and it doesn't always stay friendly. By the second week, the crisis enters a new phase. The blackout is no longer the biggest problem. Scarcity is. Fuel deliveries stop reaching many communities. Cell towers stay online only as long as their batteries or backup generators last. The supply chains that once seemed effortless begin breaking apart, one link at a time. Most grocery stores don't keep months of inventory. They rely on frequent deliveries. When transportation slows, shelves empty with surprising speed. Water treatment plants face the same challenge. Many have emergency power. Very few can rely on it forever. As systems begin to struggle, officials may advise people to boil their water before drinking it. But boiling water assumes you still have fuel, or another safe way to produce heat. Suddenly, ordinary tasks become daily challenges. Cooking, bathing, charging a flashlight, keeping medicine cold. Every action consumes a resource that may not be replaced anytime soon. Your solar system still feels like an advantage. Each morning, the batteries recharge. Each afternoon, the sun restores much of what you used overnight. For a while, it almost feels effortless. Then the weather changes. Heavy clouds cover the sky for 3 straight days. Your system doesn't stop producing power. It simply produces far less. The batteries still work. They just refill more slowly. Now every decision matters. Do you keep the refrigerator running? Or recharge your communication equipment? Do you operate the well pump? Or save that power for nighttime lighting? Electricity has become a limited resource. For the first time, you stop thinking like a homeowner. You start thinking like the manager of a tiny power grid. Every appliance becomes a budget decision. Every unnecessary watt carries a cost. Most people prepare for losing electricity. Far fewer prepare for managing limited electricity for weeks or even months. And that's where another common belief begins to fall apart. Solar panels don't eliminate difficult decisions. They simply change which decisions you have to make. Then something unexpected happens. Not to your equipment, to the way you think. For years, you believed the greatest threat during a blackout would be darkness, or cold, or hunger. But as the outage stretches on, you discover something even more valuable than electricity: reliable information. Rumors spread through the neighborhood. The power came back 2 towns over. A relief convoy arrives tomorrow. The water plant has failed. The bridge is closed. Some of those stories are true. Most are not. Without reliable communication, every decision becomes more difficult. Do you stay where you are? Or leave while you still can? Do you save your supplies? Or use them before conditions become worse? Your batteries can power a radio, but they can't guarantee that what you hear is accurate. That's when another uncomfortable truth becomes impossible to ignore. Technology can't eliminate uncertainty. It can only help you manage part of it. A fully charged battery can't tell you whether the roads ahead are safe. It can't predict how long the outage will last. And it can't decide whether helping one desperate family today leaves your own with less tomorrow. Those decisions still belong to you, and they grow heavier with every passing day. Because survival has never been only about equipment, it's about judgment. The people who endure long emergencies aren't always the ones with the most expensive gear. More often, they're the ones who adapt quickly, who communicate carefully, who avoid unnecessary risks, and who stay calm when every decision carries consequences. The solar panels on your roof don't become dangerous because they generate electricity. They become dangerous if they create overconfidence, if they encourage unnecessary visibility, or if they replace careful planning with false certainty. And the hardest lesson hasn't arrived yet, because the greatest threat may not come from strangers. It may come from the impossible choices between helping others, protecting your family, and preserving the resources that keep everyone alive. By the third week, something changes. You stop surviving one day at a time. You start imagining a future without the grid. That is the moment the blackout changes in your mind. You stop asking when the power will return. You start planning as if it won't. And that mental shift changes everything. The neighborhood has settled into a new routine, but it isn't a comfortable one. Every morning begins with the same questions. How much water is left? How much food remains? How much longer can this continue? People who once exchanged casual conversations now trade information like currency. Did you hear the bridge is open? Someone found fuel 20 miles away. They're saying another town has power again. Every conversation carries hope, but every rumor carries risk. Inside your home, one screen gets checked more than anything else: your battery monitor. You start noticing things you never cared about before. A light left on in an empty room. A refrigerator door opened too long. A device charging when it doesn't need to. The electricity that once felt endless now feels fragile. Not because your system is failing, but because you finally understand what every stored watt represents. Time. Time before food spoils. Time before medicine becomes unusable. Time before communication disappears. Time before difficult decisions can no longer be avoided. Then comes the moment you quietly feared since the blackout began. Someone knocks on your door. Not a stranger, a neighbor you've known for years. They look exhausted. Their child needs insulin kept cold. Their phone is dead. They haven't reached family since the blackout started. You know helping them will use power you may need later. You also know refusing them could stay with you long after the lights return. Whatever you decide, you have to live with it. Preparedness guides can teach you how to build a battery system. They can teach you how to store water, but they cannot tell you how much risk to accept for another person. That is the part of survival no equipment can solve. That decision reveals something many preparedness plans overlook. Survival is not about owning one perfect system. It is about building layers that support each other. Solar panels are only one layer. One of the most important layers is reducing the amount of power you need. Every watt you save is one less watt you have to create. Energy efficiency can matter just as much as energy production. A well-insulated refrigerator, opened only when necessary, keeps food cold longer. LED lights use a fraction of the energy older bulbs consume. Manual kitchen tools still work without electricity. Gravity-fed water filters require no batteries. Simple choices can stretch limited resources much further than adding more solar panels. Water deserves the same attention. Electric pumps can stop working. Water treatment systems can struggle. Stored water, safe collection methods, and reliable purification become just as important as electricity. Food follows the same rule. A freezer full of meat seems valuable until the batteries begin running low. Shelf-stable foods, preserved ingredients, and meals that require little cooking reduce your dependence on constant power. Communication matters too. A battery-powered or hand-crank emergency radio can provide updates when the internet and mobile networks fail. Printed maps remain useful when GPS services are unavailable or devices can no longer be charged. Medical preparation is often overlooked. Extra prescription medication, a stocked first aid kit, basic emergency care skills. These can matter more than adding another solar panel to your roof. Then there is something many people ignore completely: operational security. In preparedness communities, it is often explained with a simple idea: don't advertise what you have. That doesn't mean avoiding your neighbors. It means understanding that visible resources can create pressure when supplies become scarce. Small choices can reduce unwanted attention. Using blackout curtains at night, avoiding unnecessary outdoor lighting, keeping conversations about supplies private, reducing loud equipment when possible. These choices do not isolate you. They simply help you remain sustainable. Preparedness is not about looking powerful. It is about lasting longer. So, are solar panels a death trap during a grid collapse? No, not by themselves. When paired with the right battery system, realistic expectations, and careful planning, they can provide a major advantage. The technology works exactly as it was designed. The real danger is not the technology. It is believing the technology is enough. Solar panels cannot create food. They cannot repair damaged infrastructure. They cannot provide reliable information. They cannot solve moral decisions. They cannot stop fear from spreading through a community. And they cannot replace good judgment. History shows that long emergencies are rarely survived by the people with the most equipment. They are survived by people who adapt when their equipment reaches its limits, people who conserve resources, people who solve problems before they become emergencies, people who balance self-reliance with cooperation. Because even the most prepared home exists inside a larger community. If everyone around you is struggling, your own situation will eventually be affected. That is why real preparedness is never about one product. It is about building layers of resilience. Electricity is one layer. Water is another. Food is another. Then come the layers no store can sell. Skills, health, relationships, awareness. Each layer supports the others. Remove enough layers, and even the most advanced solar system becomes just another piece of equipment. And next time you see sunlight reflecting from a rooftop covered in solar panels, remember this. You are not looking at a guarantee of survival. You are looking at a tool. A powerful one, but still only a tool. During a prolonged grid collapse, the question is not whether your panels can produce electricity. The real question is whether your preparation goes beyond the roof. Because when modern systems fail, resilience does not come from one piece of technology. It comes from knowledge, careful planning, adaptable habits, and the ability to make good decisions when there are no easy answers. The brightest house on the street is not always the safest. Sometimes, the safest house is the one nobody notices. If this video changed the way you think about solar power and preparedness, subscribe for more documentaries that separate survival myths from practical reality. I would also like to hear your perspective. If you had limited battery power during a month-long blackout, what would be the first thing you would keep running, and why? If you found this valuable, leaving a like helps more people discover practical preparedness instead of survival myths. Because when it comes to survival, the best time to learn is long before you need the lesson.